Hello and welcome back to the Métropole Grid. My name is Andrej.
I'm Benoit.
And thanks so much for tuning in. This is The Distance. Game 2 of the finals at U.S. Nationals at Origins Game Fair.
Yep.
This is
sudden death.
Sudden death.
That's it.
Whoever takes it, takes it. This is the last one we do. That's it.
Yep.
On the left we have Eric Caoili. He is from the upper bracket.
Yeah.
And he's playing Pālanā.
He was also playing face down, which is
upside down. Yeah.
Upside down.
That's a choice, upside down. That's gonna get the mulligan. And on the right side we have that's Josh Wilson. He was the top seed coming into it. I think Eric was like 7th seed coming from Swiss. Josh Wilson was favored to win this, probably just on standings. He seemed really, really, really strong. But he actually faced off against Eric in the third round of top 8. And this same matchup, it was Pālanā versus Wiz, and he lost. So this is the reason why he's coming from lower brackets, and we're doing this matchup again.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really rush Pālanā, as Eric has said, and that's a big deal against Wizard, because Wizard struggles to get some of the pieces out. There's no reliability.
Sure.
There's no tutoring. It's not like a SMC or anything.
No, you got to play with what you draw.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. The confidence of doing this before is a thing. This finals is not a timed match.
No, and I played Eric in the first round, and he likes to calculate his turn, and games can take a while.
Yeah, he can play a bit on the slower side, but that's good. I actually like to see that.
Him.
Josh does that too a lot more, where you see he actually thinks about what he does, which is like high-tier Netrunner player.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, my third click is probably going to be draw, so maybe I need to... So
this is going to be a thoughtful process. A big deal about this deck is that these two guys are meta mates. They're both from the Ohio meta, and most importantly, that they prepared together for this tournament. So
that's why when they mulligan, they showed the other player what they had.
Oh, this is what I have.
There's no surprise.
No surprise. And that's a huge deal, considering one side is playing Jinteki.
Yeah.
On the basis that there's another player in the top 8 who had a Pālanā deck that was running shocks and snares.
And Batty.
And Batty, Batty's it's an easy one to include, I suppose. But the idea is that it's very easy for a fast-based deck to use many cards from hand and then make an access and get wiped by a snare.
Sure.
So that's not going to be that easy right now. So we're off 2 ice, 1 on the remote, 1 on the central. R&D is open. Now, Pālanā is making a credit every time the runner draws a card. And usually,
first time per turn.
First time per turn, yeah, sorry, exactly. And that is a lot of cards usually on a deck that involves Wildside. That's
so the unlucky thing is that the runner didn't get any econ cards before playing I've Had Worse. That gets you down to 4 credits.
Exactly.
And now you have to click twice to install the Liberated Accounts.
Yeah, it'd be nice to find a career fair, but once Liberated Accounts is on the table...
Or even Sure Gamble at the beginning is
it's nicer, yeah. But hey, what can you do? It's not the worst opening. He knows that Josh knows that he's going to have to go quick in this matchup. What's interesting is that R&D was not protected, and one of the options was medium and hammer R&D. However, if you do that, you're probably it's gonna be super difficult to get back up to 6 credits again.
Yeah, getting down to 3 credits is
really hard if you're not running multiple career.
But I guess the play is not that bad either. Like getting down your medium, getting it maybe to 2 counters and taking a credit. Because next round you can run C3 cards if there's no ice.
But they'll purge, or they'll not purge.
They lose a turn. It's not bad.
Yeah,
but you keep 2 counters on your medium.
I suppose. But it looks like we had enough cards in hand that maybe we wanted to just get a nice start.
Sure.
So at this point, money is coming in through both of those sources, and we have Wildside. So that's going to be a credit per turn for Pālanā, which is a good deal, and only 3 clicks on the runner side. Might be a problem when it comes to certain Bayreuth ice. I know there's Eli on Eric's deck, so we'll see how things go on that point. But still, 2 cards for 1 click is
that's a good install. I wish my wizard was always that fast to install. Like Wildside, Daily Cast, Liberated Accounts, pretty nice.
So Josh is going to charge that server, and that is Jackson Howard off the table for free.
No res because 9 credits. That's not a lot.
You don't really want to spend ice on that money. Resing that stuff. And this is a big deal because Josh knows that Eric isn't running many, if at all. I don't think there's scary sentries in this deck. It's really easy to place
Cortex locks.
No Cortex lock, from what I know, no Komainu. So it's very easy for Josh just to throw down a data sucker on the table and get some accesses that are getting data sucker tokens for the future. And you don't have to worry about hitting a snare last click and then losing your whole board of resources. It's pretty safe, and that's a big deal for the matchup.
So we can see that the Corp had a restructure probably in HQ, which is why he was not rezzing.
Yeah.
So a good thing to note is that when you expect the other player to have restructures, it's kind of safe to run when they're at 8 or 9 credits.
Yeah.
Because they will keep their money for restructures.
So if you have 1 in 5 agendas in HQ, you might let the run go through just to be able to restructure. Yeah.
Sure.
So that's always good. Once you're over 15 credits, though, it's ice will be res now. There's no reason not to, I suppose. We are going to poke HQ, and that is a crick res. And that's also a good reason why to let the Jackson go. Just to make your cricks turn on.
Sure.
But now that nothing else is trashed, that crick is a blank piece of ice. We're going to slime into that Viper. I think there is a click left to lose, so we're going to play a trace game. Just 3 credits to lose a click. I don't know if you want to spend that money at this point in time. Probably not. The more interesting one is going to be the end of the run. We're not going to boost that. Wizard with that link is going to let that go. So that's not too bad, I guess, trading 3 credits for a click. Interesting to know. Oh, actually, firstly, employee strike is a big deal.
It is against most Corp.
Yeah, most Corps. Pālanā is one of the ones that I think it hurts a lot.
Well, Gagarin or IG as well. Like
IG is a big deal.
Yeah, and CI for sure.
Hilariously. But against Pālanā, Pālanā is meant to go fast. So they'll play a lot of draw cards. They're trying to get the ice, a bit of ice, get some upgrades, and get the agendas in that server. And making money for doing nothing, just like the engineering the future way, is a big deal.
All right, so we can see that the Corp is probably trying to score an agenda before Faust shows up.
Yeah.
That might be a gamble.
Well, yeah, but not only gamble. I think
We'll
you just
see.
want that
10
agenda.
credits?
10 credits
Oh,
probably does it.
it's kind of gamble.
Well, I don't know. You
We'll
only
see.
have 3 clicks to install a
Well, you
Faust
don't
to
know
get
if
it.
they don't have Faust.
Sure, but there
Yeah.
could be a swordsman also on that server. That's good.
Could be.
I think an ideal server is swordsman into Lotus Field. That's my favorite Pālanā
Or
server.
right now, swordsman into any cheap
Just about
ice.
anything, yeah. But yeah, I guess.
And the run cheap ice.
Oh, we're going to poke that server.
Sure.
That first ice is not going anywhere, but the second is the Lotus.
There you
And
go.
that card basically means come back with a breaker. There's no way you're going to parasite that down instantly.
But if you triple advance now, you're down to 2 credits.
You are down to 2 credits, but you'll be up to 3 credits as soon as the turn starts for the next side.
Yep, because
so you
of the
can
employee
maybe get
stuff.
an Enigma. That's a corporate sales team scored. And not only is that some good money, more importantly is that is going to make the Pālanā ability turn on again. And just in time for the runner's turn to start.
And also, that's probably the best agenda you can score at that point.
Yeah,
Nisei would have been
super.
okay,
Yeah.
but you need money.
So this wizard deck, as most wizard decks I've seen recently, are running Turntable as their console. And Turntable is a really good card in this matchup in Pālanā. I think there's actually one in hand right now. It's on the basis that a lot of their agendas have tokens on them. So you have corporate sales team that has 10 credits. You can switch that out. You also have
Nisei.
things like Nisei that you can switch out.
And you also have 2 pointers and 3 pointers.
So super good. Global food, swapping that around is awesome.
Sure.
And there you go. That's a turntable. If we can get a medium on the table, that'd be even more ideal. But you can start poking HQ, and there you go. That's the 3 credits that was necessary. So actually 2 credits came in because he scored this corporate sales team. So not that bad at all. And then Enigma is going to do it for now. But you know with data sucker tokens that Enigma can disappear at any moment.
Yeah, Celebrity Gift is also really good because you only need 3 credits to make 7.
So that's a whole bunch of ice, a Caprice, and a Crisium. Crisium is a cool include in this deck for a couple reasons. Firstly, it stops data sucker.
Yep.
That's good. Stops the count siphon.
Medium.
Yeah, that too. What we realized last game is that's a huge deal when it comes to the card
Political operative.
political operative.
Because you need a successful run on HQ.
Yeah. So this will force 2 runs on HQ and a trash. That's a big deal because, as they both know, Josh is running political operative. That's one of his influence. This differs from most of the popular wizard decks is that it only runs 1 clone chip.
Yep, you need to remove 1 clone chip just to get some more influence for different cards.
I've actually seen a lot of wizard decks that are running 3 clone chips at this point.
Yeah.
Clone chip's a good card, sure. But this is going to have a Paul up in it, which helps a lot on this matchup. So Parasite is going to start up on that Enigma, so some ice is going to have to come up on R&D sooner or later. And we do have the pancakes. We're gonna wake up real early in the morning after dancing.
Wizard at that point is when you control that deck, you feel so strong.
Yes.
Like he just needs David and the Faust to be perfectly installed. But
Yep.
you can get away with just parasites and data sucker for a while.
Yep.
So that's enough.
So say there is a swordsman on that scoring server. The single clone chip is a big deal.
And we know there's a medium.
We know there's a medium for sure, and that's also huge. But the idea of the clone chip is that it basically turns off swordsman. You hit swordsman, you lose your breaker, you're taking that damage. But then the next piece of ice, you just clone chip it back, and you're good to go.
But if it's your only one clone chip in your deck, ugh.
That's true. But sometimes you just need to get in the server.
Yeah.
So, yeah, R&D is looking a bit weak at this point. HQ is looking good. That scoring server is still good. I believe there's only 2 Faust in the deck. There might be 3. But finding that Faust is usually the interesting problem.
So 2 installs. We can guess that one is a Crisium Grid and the other one is probably a Caprice.
Yeah.
Caprice is most likely safe in a remote.
Yeah, Caprice is good on a remote.
It's good. Better than HQ. Because you need to side game
that's
Caprice
true.
Before trashing it. If you access it from HQ, it's just dead.
Caprice on R&D is also good.
Yep.
Against heavy medium digs.
But not against no ice, though. So if he kills the Enigma, you can run Caprice like 3 times. Yep.
So we have seen the majority of ice that was in Eric's hand. So we probably can tell that's 1 of 3 ice. That's either a pup and a
toll booth,
or an Eli.
Or an Eli.
Eli's good.
Eli is really good because it's taxing. There's no real good way around it.
Knifed.
Even Parasite is.
Knife is the way.
Knife is the word.
Knife
is
always the way to deal with it. Looks like we're going to check that is an Eli. You can click through that if you want, but it looks like we're just going to get a bounce because we do have the knife straight in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 2 clicks just to that Eli. It's going to trash it for good.
So most wizard deck, I think, run 2 knives, 1 spoon, and 1 fork.
Yeah, usually
that's what I've seen
knife
around.
is usually the most common. So suddenly that server that had 6 to 7 credits of ice is just going to entirely disappear. That clone chip is going to bring up the medium, so the multi-axis is going to build up. And this is now a problem. There's not much ice in HQ. We know he's going to draw wraparound. There is a toll booth in hand and a pup. Toll booth is looking like a good option at this point.
Maybe, but 8 credit?
8 credit is
12?
still a lot. We are making basically 2 credits at the beginning of every turn.
Toll booth is a good target for Parasite if you can afford 5 counters.
Spoon is usually where it would go.
Spoon with David is a good way to go.
Because I don't know, spooning Lotus Field isn't that big of a tax. It's just basically 2 cards.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So that's not bad. However, if
you
have a limited amount of Davids with a single clone chip, so that's kind of something to worry about. Single ice going up on R&D. I have no doubt that you want to face check that this turn. See what you can get a res out of that. See what you have to deal with. Because the digs can happen right now. The turntable is still going to do a bit of work if you can swap 3 credits away.
Sure.
Let's check R&D.
So Toll Boots is really good against Wizard. First, there's no way to spend credits on breakers because you have no breaker that can boost
so you
strength.
Can't do the 2 credit dodge.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're at 3 credits when you run, you're down to 0. The other why it's good is that it's a 5 strength. So obviously for against Faust, it's not bad.
David
is okay, but if you have to run, lose 3 credits, install David, run again, lose 3 more credits. That's already done its work.
Yeah.
Like it's a good ice. It's really good to include in Pālanā, I think.
So one thing that I've seen from Josh's play that I really like, a lot of times when I play Netrunner, if I have things on the table like liberated accounts, I will just click that thing so I feel comfortable. If you have money and you're not using a Netrunner, that's basically a waste of a click. You want to run with, as long as the matchup is okay with it, you want to run with just as enough money as you need. So being on 3 credits right now is not a problem, considering that not a lot of money is going to be spent in this game.
Yeah, exactly. There's money in the bank. You're not going to get tagged.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away. So spend more time running, drawing, installing.
I respect that.
And you'll gain money when you need it.
So in the server there, we have an install, advance. That's suggesting that's probably a 3-pointer. That could either be a food or a future perfect.
Yeah, even an Issei would be all right if you can save the click next turn.
Yeah, that's true. If that is a 3-pointer, we're at a kind of a bad spot considering that turntable's on a table. Generally against turntable, you always want to score your 3-pointer as your last agenda. Just on the basis that another axis can swap those agendas and have a pretty big swing.
Of course, you have to play with what you draw.
You do. But that's... we'll see how things go
Maybe
there.
it's a GFI. It's not like the worst.
GFI is not the worst against turntable. It's slightly better. Yeah.
Nisei would have been better, but
Nisei would be super good.
GFI might be all right.
So still no breakers from Josh. All we have is a medium. All we have is a data sucker, and that is enough to put the kind of pressure on the corp where they'll res just about anything. That's super impressive. Whether or not we can contest that remote, we are pretty sure there's a Caprice
Depends
in
on
there.
the Faust.
Depends on we definitely need a Faust.
Yep.
Click 2, I'll draw.
Looks like we're gonna draw a bit.
So the first game we've seen before, no Faust came in like the first
half of the deck.
half at least. Let's see if this is gonna be the same game.
So we can find a Faust really soon.
Yeah. Because right now you're locked out of R&D and the remote if you don't find your David or Faust. David would let you access R&D.
Interestingly enough, you can still get through HQ if you want to trace a bit.
You can also Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite's another good option. Eric's deck here is actually very interestingly designed. From what I can understand, it has a lot of really low res cost ice that is pretty high strength and has multiple subroutines. So you see things like Eli, like Viper, like Pup, and no matter what, that's going to be taxing to Faust.
Sure.
That is a future perfect in that server. That's going to take Eric up to 5 points. Now we're on game point suddenly. This is a fast deck. If you can't find Faust, this is going to be it's a problem.
Yeah. Right now you're pretty confident as the runner because of turntable. Like you can spoon. There we go. So David lets you spoon the toll booth.
And toll booth is gone.
And then you have medium, so you access 2 cards. You just need 1 Nisei, and you can switch that for future perfect.
Yeah, and we're in a really good spot at that point. And that's why spending 5 credits scoring an agenda right now might not have been the best call, considering R&D is open. We're going to get 2 access off the top, and that's a Nisei.
Ooh, that's a nice access, though.
That's a
like,
perfect
that was
access.
not perfect. Like, that was not... It might have not happened.
No, you're right. It might not have. But we can go back and now, because of that, see 2 more cards. A Caprice will be trashed for free.
Lets you see more cards.
And an Agroplex. I guess you have 1 more run in there. That's going to let you see 2 more cards on top of the aggro and the crick. And now
but he did install David Spoon.
Yes. Well, Spoon counts as a run.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think you have 1 more left.
1 more.
So that's going to be another Enigma further down and an Eli. So as much as the medium is loaded, there's some good ice coming to deal with that soon. But you're down to 4 points. 4-3. Things are getting close. This is exciting.
Like Wizard with so many, like that might be a good time to purge. Like
I don't think you purge unless you ice up.
Can't.
You need to ice up first.
You're right.
Purging is there's no point.
He's just gonna run 3
and
times
then trash
again.
that Agroplex.
Yep.
Really exciting that he couldn't trash that Agroplex at that point. So that's actually gonna slip through. You definitely do need to ice up R&D. We've seen a lot of that ice in HQ.
Oh, going full protection.
I think you got to do that. That sounds good.
That's like fully protected.
Yeah, that's some good protection.
Yep.
Only 4 credits, 5 credits with the draw now. So we're going to see how much of that ice you can res. The interesting thing now is, with things like medium, is do you run now? Or do you wait until they draw a couple of cards so you get even more cards with your medium? However, the Corp can also
credit,
purge.
I would run now.
Just to force a res.
Yes, exactly.
That sounds about
If they
good.
res a pop, I can pay. If they res, what else can they res? Enigma,
Crick.
I lose a click.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Enigma's
Crick,
okay.
I don't care.
Yeah,
well,
that's fine.
yeah, no, I care about Crick if I can't break.
That's a Caprice comes back.
Caprice come back
actually,
is bad.
But it looks like we're just going to install that liberated counts, and we're going to go for a purge. 3 cards wiped in that. That's not too bad at all. You do get rid of that Parasite, which is kind of like a bonus. Like, I usually forget about that Parasite. You usually look at the other side of the board more than yours. But that's always good. So that Viper's going to hold for a bit longer. Medium has been reset. If you want to get some Data Sucker counters, you can always run Archives, but it's going to be a bit harder to get.
Seems like a loss of momentum, though.
It's not something you want to do. Not without a Desperado or something more interesting. I don't know. Still 6 credits, though, on the Corp side. And there we go. We now have a real interesting game.
Faust is online.
Pactum. That is Faust is online. And we have a draw engine. We know an Agroplex is going to show up soon. So whether that's something you install, that's always interesting. 3 cards on R&D. I think
and
at this
Corp
point...
is down to 6 credits?
6 credits
with
is not a lot.
No more money on corporate sales team?
No, sales team is done. Here we have an install, and this is another time it has. Yeah,
1,
6
2,
MU.
3, 4, 5, 6.
So this is something that came up in the last game, and I don't know how I feel about it. Usually at these high-stakes games where you have judges watching, when you do a misplay like this, you're forced to deal with it. In the last game, it looked like we could do some take backsies like we just did there. So that Mimic is going to be undone. I guess Eric does learn some information about his hand, so it's not the worst. But if he had to overwrite something, that could have been a problem.
Yeah.
I guess you maybe get rid of the Parasite.
Data Sucker, maybe?
Data Sucker is just way too good.
Or Parasite.
Yeah, I guess you get rid of the Parasite. But it looks like we can rewind that without any issues. So, I guess.
What have you done? Faust draw.
So at this point in time, you can contest crick, and you can run R&D if there's a crick there. You might want to get one data sucker first just to ease that one card.
You could also, if you have nothing else to do, run the remote. 2 cards for 1 side game, trash a
That's
Caprice.
true. Yeah, and they'll res the Caprice for 2.
Yeah, res the Caprice is 2, so
yeah.
you achieving 1 goal, which is forcing the corp to spend money.
Now, the interesting thing is that as soon as Faust came on this table, and this is why Josh wanted to install the Mimic, is without he's already used a single clone chip, is that he does have to respect Swordsman. So if that remote there is Swordsman into Lotus Field, checking it now would actually be kind of disastrous.
I wonder if he's playing 2 Faust now. Because I'm
definitely
like,
2. I don't think 3.
Oh, that might be why we haven't seen Faust faster in both games.
I don't think.
And it's also good protection against them trashing one of your Fausts. You can reinstall
just have more of them. Yeah. That was always the way. But it looks like we're just going to take some money. And then we're going to charge HQ at this point. Charging HQ last click is a good thing to do. Because Viper only has 1 effective subroutine. You can't really lose a click.
So that's 4 cards.
I think that's going to be 4 cards. But you're already going to throw out 2 at the end of your turn. So it's not that big of a deal. An interesting thing. Or you know what? We're actually going to play a Trace. So only 2 cards. And we can do a Trace 3.
Sure, 12 credits against 6.
That's smart. I respect that. That is going to be 3 credits just to get a single access. That gets you the Data Sucker. That Data Sucker helps you to deal with Crick on the next turn. If you want to run again.
It's really to trash a Crisium Grid.
That too.
And install pull-up.
Yeah, well, I don't think he has the click to install pull-up this turn.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, because he only did the last trace.
Okay.
So we're going to see if he reses the Crisium, which is interesting too. I don't
If
know
it's the last click, probably not.
Probably not. Maybe you want to deny a Data Sucker token. Yeah.
6 credit? 6 credits
3 is a lot.
Ugh.
So it looks like Eric is going to think about that. What's a Data Sucker token worth to you? I don't know if... Yeah, he doesn't have clicks for pull-up. So we'll see. Crisium Grid's a cool include. I'm down with that. Pull-up is a big deal.
And the siphons against Pālanā. Oh, so he's paying 3 credits.
So he's going to pay 3 for that. You know, you're always going to have money coming in with Pālanā, and that's going to be trashed for 2 credits.
Sure.
So it's kind of a wash in some ways. 4 cards in HQ. A single access is going to get you... well, let's see, I guess. It's going to get you an Agroplex. So you could trash that if you want.
For 5 credits? No
For 5
way.
real credits, that's a problem.
No
but
way.
I think more importantly, at this point in the game, you might be okay with that. Because you have a medium on the table. All you need is cards, and then you can hammer R&D all you want. Yeah, so with an extra card in hand, that's a big deal. You know what? Also, drawing the Political Operative is a big deal in this matchup. Because you don't know when you're going to get it. 1 in 45.
Sure.
You have no tutoring for that. Same with the Levy. You need to find a Levy at
So
some
if
point.
he has the Political Operative now, I think it's a good time to run HQ.
Yeah.
See if you find another Agroplex. Like, you might think this is the Agroplex that was just installed, right?
I'm pretty sure
But
it
if you
is.
see it in HQ, you're like, okay, that's not an Agroplex.
That's true. I think, however, yeah, that's the problem with Vipers. Viper encourages you to run last click, and then you might get greedy.
But there are only 2 strength, so
Yeah, I
you
know.
can.
Yeah, it's just
spend
2 cards.
2 cards.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
You might want to wait until you have enough Data Suckers and then just run and trash it.
Sure.
So you could even check Archives, run HQ, get rid of it for good, and then next turn you have an easy pull-up. You know that's not an agenda in the server, though, so you're not in any rush.
Exactly.
No matter what, Eric is going to have to either score 2 2-pointers or 1 3-pointer. So install advance is something you have to start worrying about at this point. Now, there is a big window, and we saw this in the last game. The window in which the runner has to levy. That's the easiest scoring window once Wizard gets set up.
Yeah, but it's hard to evaluate when they want to levy.
Yes.
Sometimes they levy when there's like 2 or 3 cards remaining. Sometimes they'll play a last turn and have 0 cards.
Super efficiency.
Even with Wildside, I've been ending my turn with 0 cards sometimes.
Yeah, the efficiency usually is the thing that you want to fight for. Sometimes it's not the best. Single access is going to be an Agroplex. So maybe that thing in the server isn't. Interesting note, we did we got the pull up now. So Caprice is not looking as good as she is. And that is another Agroplex.
Okay.
So it looks like we are flush. That is 2 cards off the top and a credit at the beginning of the runner's turn. Corp's turn, sorry. So that's not too bad at all. Looks like we are sitting on a celebrity gift in hand.
Sure.
We could get that out, get some money. Still, none of that ice and R&D has been poked. And we have definitely broke the medium point. Like we're past where the medium dig was before. So those are some fresh accesses if you want.
Sure, but it's only one access because there's no more because
Yeah,
of the purge.
sure, yeah, but you
and
do have to
3
build it
ice,
up.
but only 5 credits. So
Exactly, 5
that's
credits.
a good time to run, I think, R&D.
It's a pretty
Would
decent
be a
time.
really, really good time to poke.
This is, again, whether or not he's worried about hitting a swordsman.
Sure.
Because he might want to wait till he draws his next Faust in hand before he hits a swordsman. Because at that point, if you lose a swordsman, he could just install advance into a remote server. This celebrity gift, though, is going to betray a bit of that play, because you know there's no agendas in hand, so the game is entirely in R&D at this point.
Sure.
If you can top deck R&D, not top deck, sorry, if you can lock it down, you're in a good spot.
But now the corp is back to 12 credits.
That's the
and
problem.
one more at the beginning of the runner's turn, so that's 13 credits.
13 credits.
And 3 ice?
We'll res you some ice. There was actually, I think, was there one card in hand that wasn't revealed? Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, he left that Agroplex on the table, so he has 6 cards in hand. So he might actually be hiding an agenda. We know there's not obviously a Jackson Howard in that remote, so if something's going to hit the archives, if you want to figure out what that is, you can go for it. I have no doubt that's an extra Agroplex, though. You don't need 3 of those. Oh man, this is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's still 4 points to 3 points.
Still 4 points to 3 points.
And also, like you said before, the final is not timed.
No, yes, we can go for a while here. The same old thing, that's the nice alt art same old thing. That will get you your Levy if you want. I think it has to be a Levy at this point. You do lose a bit of threat when you throw your Levy into the bin that you can't same old cutlery. Sometimes the same old spoon is really, really, really
yes,
strong.
I've done that.
Yeah, but now you know that's going to have to be the Levy. 3 cards left, so that's one more turn considering the Agroplex and Wild Side. So the Levy's going to hit really, really, really soon. Actually, a draw is going to, I guess, still 1 turn away. With now 6 cards in hand, that's an employee strike on the table. That's a big deal, especially because we're going to make a run now. We're going to run HQ. If you run R&D at this point, that's really good because you'll make money will have to be spent probably.
Sure.
And then with the employee strike on the table, it's harder to make cash.
And now Corp has to future perfect.
That was the one hidden card. That was the hidden card from the celebrity gift. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
13 credits to 8
it's
credits.
Game point right there for Corp.
That's the Corp's game point if that can get into the server. We do have the Paul up and we have a Faust, so it's going to be a bit trickier than that. But
maybe a swordsman.
Swordsman on that server would be actually ideal. But then at that point, I don't know if you have enough credits to protect R&D. Oh, this is a big thing. What do you go for? I would say easily.
I would roll at that point. I'm so bad at side games.
This is not full random. Yeah, I don't know.
I would. I mean, the Corp has 13
this
credits.
Is Corp. I think Corp goes 1. Runner probably overcommits.
1 is always bad.
Yeah, 1 to 2. There you go. That's the 1 and 2. So that's gonna go back into HQ. Remember that Viper is down. So HQ is not safe in the slightest bit. 2 cards being drawn though, that's going to dilute HQ a bit, but you need to get that card into a server. And remember, if that is a swordsman into Lotus Field, you need a Mimic on the table, which means you have the MU now, actually, so that's not that bad.
Yeah.
So you can throw down a Mimic, charge that remote, and that's the thing about the take back is that Eric now knows there's a Mimic in hand.
Yep.
So that's not something he can do. So that actually information was probably worth something. But at the end of your deck, I guess the Mimic has to be somewhere.
So now he needs to over-install that Agroplex now that he's not gaining a credit from it.
Yes.
That'd be a card that gives more advantage to your opponent, maybe?
Yeah. It'd be interesting if he installed over the Agroplex with an Agroplex, just to bait the run.
Sure.
Then maybe get a Jackson in there, recycle some Caprices. But that agenda in HQ is definitely a problem, and it looks like that might actually be the agenda in there.
Or a second Caprice?
Oh, you know what? I can see it in hand. It's not. That's a bluff. That is a good bluff. We'll see if that'll draw it out. That might actually use the Paul up. That might use a lot of cards. And at this point, you could probably poke R&D first, see if they spend a lot of credits resing ice, and then you can know whether they have enough credits to score. Because if you don't advance that, that's not the agenda, right? Or not that it's not the agenda, but it doesn't
they can
matter.
wait for the advance.
Yeah.
But if that's a double Caprice, they can do there's no res ice inside. Oh
There
no,
is.
you're right.
So for the viewers that haven't seen this, there is one interesting way to get past political operative once it's on the table involving Caprice. And that is if you haven't rezzed the innermost ice on a server, There's this interesting window where if the runner doesn't use their political operative soon enough, because they expect you to res the second piece of ice, there's a window where you can. How does it work?
So if I declare a run on a server with, let's say, 2 pieces of unresed ice,
correct, yeah.
I will declare if I res or not res the first ice.
Yeah.
And then you have no more paid ability window.
Okay.
So you'll just bypass if I decide to not res anything.
Yeah. So you can't pull up.
Yeah, you could pull up once.
Oh, so they pull up the first one and then you get a res the second one.
And since you didn't res any ice, they go straight to the caprice.
Right. So this involves the runner, from what I understand, pull-upping too soon.
The runner has to pull up. Like, there's no way to prevent it. If I have an unres ice inside, there's no way. You'll have to either pull up and then I res my second caprice, or not pull up and no more window for pull up.
So if we want to go for that game, you're gonna have to overwrite the loaded field on that server. Mimic has hit the table, so Swordsman has lost its teeth. I think that's all that Josh needed to start attacking R&D. And we're gonna same old Levy.
Sure.
We know there's no Kronos Project in this deck, which, by the way, Kronos Project just absolutely eats a lot of Wizard
What a
decks.
nice surprise.
What a good surprise. And maybe that's something that the people at FFG are trying to force on us with the nice alt arts that we all received. Sure. So, hey, that was a good.
Even in Fast Advance, like, you have a Sand Sand.
Oh my god,
Don't do
Biotic,
it. Don't
Biotic.
do it. Yeah, just Biotic or Kronos Project.
Man, Biotic Kronos Project did well for me when I was playing it. But we are fresh into it. We have another stack. We have all the cards on the table that we need. The only interesting thing now is we have a single-use Paul-Up. Before we could have Paul-Upped, levied, Paul-Upped again, but now we only have one Paul-Up. There's no Deja Vu.
Nope.
There's no way to pull it back. So we have one shot, and we're going to have to very carefully use that and see how things go. Down to 2 credits, too, is also kind of a problem with Wizard. There's not a lot of good ways to get your money making stuff on the board without a single career fair, I think, in the deck.
I think there's only one.
Yeah. The influence is getting tight these days. And that Future Perfect is still hanging out in HQ. That is that's very brave.
I think right now, if that's double Caprice, he needs to over-install and get money and
but he
install
needs enough money.
Advance.
He's not making money from drawing anymore.
Exactly.
So I even think over-installing over that plan is a big deal, considering that Agroplex was not making credits. So you want to kind of get that out of the way.
Sure.
So we're in an impasse here. There's just not enough money. We haven't seen a lot of Jacksons. We've only seen one Jackson, I think, and that was trashed. So it might be nice to get those operations back into R&D, lower density, and get some money back on the table.
Interestingly enough, like, Clot was the anti-Fast Advance. Political Operative is like the anti-Caprice.
Yeah.
So good.
There we go. That's a Jackson on the table. There's another in HQ and another Caprice. That's going to be a way, if you want to do it, to get rid of that Future Perfect in hand.
It might be tricky, because if he throws away a Future Perfect and not use Jackson, you can pull up and you can run like 4 times.
So we're going to see if that's going to be respected. We're going to throw out a card, and now there's this awkward window where you have to ask the corp whether you want to do anything. Eric might have thrown away. He's now shuffling, so whether that's a nervous tell, we don't know. But baiting that Paul-Up, like, I don't know if you use the Paul-Up on a Jackson.
I don't think you do.
You can't, because then you have to play Caprice.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty brave. We'll see if he gets antsy at any point. It looks like we're just going to run Archives. That's almost as good, I guess. There's another Jackson in hand, so even if he did fend that off, he could have played 4 side games and maybe hoped for the best. But I think this is a good play. Jackson Howard is going to be popped. 3 cards are going to go back in. We'll see if one of them is face down. Then we know how brave he was about this play.
At that point, I think he wants to keep the Future Perfect in HQ.
Yeah,
just because it's the winning agenda.
He might have tossed it. That's a restructure, celebrity.
So he wants to play the slower game where he finds the second Caprice and then more ice and then more.
Yeah, I think he needs another ice. He definitely needs another ice on that remote server.
Sure.
And he needs more money just to res all that stuff on R&D. Because if there's a toll booth on R&D, like, that's not scoring credits left.
So I think he left the Jackson in Archive.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he went for the restructure. There's always another Jackson, but you can easily lose that to Wizard. Wizard generally doesn't mind trashing Jackson at all. And we're going to go for the first poke on R&D. Only 3 credits in on the Corp sorry, the runner
Now
side.
I think he's gonna take net damage. I remember that point. Like everyone was like, "Oh, net damage, interesting." He's probably had worse in.
Yeah, this basically means I've had worse, because otherwise you could break it with the cards that you choose. And that is 2 cards down. None of those I've had worse. Really interesting here, the net damage has to be done one at a time, because if you hit I've had worse, it has to go back into the pool of possible net damage.
So they did that wrong.
Yeah, so that's not technically correct, but we didn't have an I've had worse, so not the end of the world. But that means there's an I've had worse than 3 cards. That's unlucky. And losing a Parasite is really rough to a pup. We're going to get a single access, build some medium tokens, and that is a restructure coming just in time. At 9 credits, that's kind of what you want to see. So now we know how porous R&D is. The secret is up. That was never at any point in time a swordsman. That was the server you could have ran, or Josh could have ran, I mean. And so the medium pressure is definitely going to be a problem.
Was bad until Faust, but once he had Faust, he could have run everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's the swordsman respect that I guess you have to have at some point, considering that there wasn't that many, there wasn't a lot of deck left and not a lot of clone chips. So there's a restructure in hand. We know that. Getting money at this point could be an okay plan. There's only 3 credits on the runner side, so even putting down something like a toll booth into Caprice, that's going to require at least 4 credits from the core, from the runner.
But you only have 9 credits, so that's expensive for what it is.
So I don't know. I think the slow play is the good play at this point. Playing the restructure is good. I think you definitely need more ice on R&D. However, that is going to cost you a bunch of money to get out there.
And the ice is not that strong.
No, it really isn't.
It's cheap, and it's also not that expensive to break.
But yeah, not
especially
very
with
strong at this
Faust.
point.
I mean, you already went through one of your decks as the runner. Now you're going for the second run through.
So we'll see how things can hold out. Whether there's agendas in HQ is maybe something worth checking too. It's only going to be 1 card from Wizard if you use the Data Sucker token, which is not that hard to do at all. There's also another Caprice in HQ. Could you throw a Caprice in R&D? It might be worth it. As long as you don't need to res both at the same time, if there's one in the remote server, that might be annoying. You can waste a couple turns from the runner side.
But pull-up is a problem for your scoring remote, is the thing. I think you need to keep all Caprice for your remote at that point.
Just 2 in the remote for pull-up.
It's the only way you have to score agendas.
That's true.
And he's going to keep the pull-up until he needs to use it on the remote server.
Yeah.
He's not going to waste it for accesses on R&D for sure.
So an interesting thing that we saw before in the last game, and I saw other players do this in top 8, is running Caprice when you have a pull-up and just playing the game anyways, if it's not, game point or anything. Just because you want to save that pull-up until it matters, and a 1 in 3 chance is not that bad of a chance.
No, exactly.
Especially when you're lowering the cost of entry to a server to just simply cards. Back in the old days when there was all the food codes, when you're actually paying like 10 credits to get into a server, you didn't want to play a game.
But now cards are replaceable.
Cards are very replaceable. In fact, I think we have about 40 more to go through, maybe 35.
And some of them are trashing ice as well, like parasites and operations events.
And it looks like we're going to set up for that double Caprice play. Installing over, that is only going to be 1 extra credit, and we get 1 face down in archives. So one of those ice has to end the run, and we need 2 Caprice in there.
Yeah,
because otherwise you just keep running if it doesn't end the run, right? So we are getting to a really dicey point. Josh is going to be checking Eric's archives. There is, you can tell what kind of ice he's thrown out. Remember, they know each other's decks pretty well.
Eli would be great, I think, on remote because it's only 3 credits and it's pretty expensive to break.
Yeah, with enough suckers, that's 2 cards, but still, that is taxing.
So this.
Daily cast on the table. We now have a slight window when it comes to credits.
R&D? Yep. Okay.
We're going to run. I don't know if we're going to run at this point. Yeah, it looks like we're going to run R&D, which is an interesting proposition because remember, if we do hit something like a Future Perfect, we do not have money for a side game.
Yep.
I think you always want to access with 2 cards in hand. There's the I've had worse as a hit. That is going to be 3 cards into HQ. And now we have more cards for the run. That's the efficiency of I've had worse and a bit of a downside to pup. We see another I've had worse in there. I think we want to keep going and
not
maybe
pay for pup because you have no credits.
No.
It's basically like you get to pick your cards or
you get the damage and hope
maybe
you get
I've
an
had worse.
Yeah. Another single card for the Crick. And that's going to get 2 card accesses off the top. One's a food. Okay, so that's the
Game
good
point,
3-pointer to
both
hit.
sides.
And now we're suddenly both on game point.
All right.
He's not turntabling, of course.
No, it doesn't seem like a good thing to do. But if that was the future perfect, that would have been a big problem. I think you really need to respect that and keep some credits in your pool. And now things are getting close. Do you purge? Next turn there's going to be...
Actually, you know what? Is the Nisei counter still there? Turntable would not have been that bad.
No, that wasn't a scored Nisei. That was a turntable Nisei. It has no counter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So no counter.
So no counter.
I couldn't
nothing to
see
use
well,
there.
but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you caprice R&D at this point? It's really hard. If you purge, they're just going to come back in again. Like, that's not a very taxing R&D to deal with.
You need to find a way to score your last future perfect.
He needs to score, yeah.
Did he throw it away though?
He did.
Oh,
Jackson
that might be
back.
why he's stuck.
Yeah, so he's at a problem. He does have a fast track in hand, so if
So
you
you
want,
should start
you can
building?
build back. It does also have a celebrity gift, so another option is
I
to
mean,
just make more
14
money.
credits is now or never. Like fast track, install Caprice, and then next turn you advance twice,
You have
and
to
then
hold
the
off for
turn
2
after
turns.
you advance 3 times.
That's difficult. However,
I know, but
you have done the runner doesn't have a lot
medium
of credits.
runs are so. But medium runs.
Medium is really strong. There is still 2 CBS in the deck,
Okay, and you have future perfects that they won't steal if
Yes.
they cannot win.
so that's actually not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Still, though, if you hit a Nisei or you hit a corporate sales team, things
That's
are
it.
not looking that good.
Mm-hmm. That's game.
So this is going to be very close, and this is I really kind of like this part when you play nationals, when there isn't a time limit, so you can actually think. I have a problem. I usually play faster than I think, which is not a good thing to do.
Sometimes you finish your turn with 3 cards only in
that's
grip.
also a thing. So this is a good old think puzzle.
I mean, medium digs are rough, but if you don't act now, you'll never win, in my opinion.
If you get locked,
yeah, if you don't fast track for the agenda and try to score it,
yeah. We'll see. David is fully loaded. No, 2 counters on David, right?
there we go.
It looks
All
like
right.
we're doing the thing you think.
Yeah, because you have to rely on your cyber decks.
Yeah, you do. And there's not that many agendas left in R&D. Like, if we do the math right now, there's what? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12
And did he
points on
grab
the
a
table?
future perfect?
He did, yes.
So there's no more GFIs, which is unfortunate. Because if you
Think
leave
so.
your other future perfect and you get the GFI, you have protection in your R&D because the future perfects has to be like side gamed.
Yeah. I think you have to... That's the last 3-pointer.
All right, so he's counting cards, checking for how many agendas are left.
So at this point, you can do the math and see what's the agenda density per card and see what the runs are worth. Another really big deal, though, with the fast track is that he shuffled the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that only adds 1 extra card on access, but that's 1 extra card on access, which can help a lot. Now, Pup doesn't end at the run if anything happens. You know what? Do you even keep that card in HQ? Get a couple 1 and 5 accesses? That doesn't sound that good. Does it?
No, I didn't install it because you need to score at some point.
So that also could be a bluff. That could be another Agroplex. That could be a Jackson. We don't know what that is at this point. And maybe you're trying to just get out the political operative at this point so that you can install another Crisium. Another Caprice and go for it. Because that also could be a Cyberdex Virus Suite in there. And if you get them to access it, that saves you 3 credits in a whole turn.
You know that there's 2 Caprice, right? So now you
don't.
should...
You don't?
Well, you expect 2 Caprices. So you
Yes.
should run the remote now. Force the Corp to res, trash one of the 2 Caprice, play the game, try to win on the game, and then go for R&D.
Your other
It
option...
seems like...
Yeah, that's probably a good bet. You just don't have a lot of credits.
Sure.
Because if you hit something like a Swordsman, you are going to have to pay 1 credit at least.
Mm-hmm.
That does give you side game money, so that's actually not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no threat. Like, you're not threatening to win next turn, so maybe you can just go R&D.
Sure.
And then next turn, you'll have an even bigger R&D dig if they don't purge.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know which way to go.
Mm.
We'll see what Josh is thinking. Josh did take some credits. I think he did click for a credit, so something is cooking in his head. Wildside is going to give you cards no matter what. And we know we only have to spend 1 card
Installing
per
a Cyberdex would have been so cool.
Cyberdex would be a big deal right now.
Cyberdex would have been a big deal.
Yeah, there's
Because
still...
next turn you could like advance twice in Cyberdex. Like
Yes.
when they run.
Oh, you wait for them to run before they access your
Uh-huh.
Cyberdex.
Sure.
And that wastes 2 turns, sort of.
Yeah.
That's a good old time walk. But, man.
I guess he's thinking if it's worth it to go R&D, but it's pretty cheap.
it is relatively cheap. But if that's the wrong
Well,
move,
it depends. He's only on 3 credits, so
yeah, 3 credits a lot. And you want to keep 2 credits if you can, just for the side game. Whether there is another 3-pointer in there, I'm not sure. Looks like we're going to parasite that, but that's going to be another...
5 MU. That's a problem with Wizard. Like, when your full rig is at 5, it's at 5.
And you know what? We're just going to get the parasite through anywheres. That's a gone pop. So that server is now only 3 cards, which is a lot more manageable. 2 cards are going to get hit. None of them I've had worse.
The thing is that he spent 2 credits, though, to install Parasite to save 2 credits. So it's good if you run multiple times.
Yeah, if it goes on.
So we'll see if it pays off.
And
no,
top
it
deck the
doesn't change
Nisei,
anything.
and there you go. That is 7 points. And we have a champion for U.S. Nationals. That's Josh Wilson, coming all the way from losers brackets.
Yeah, and Swiss round first place.
First round Swiss place, having to do the matchup again. That remote server was 2 swordsmen. That's hilarious. So if he ran that, he might actually have ran out of money and lost his Faust, and that could have been a window.
And not be able to use pull up and fight the second Caprice.
Could have been a problem. Super exciting games. That was quite a series. We had a really good time. I had a wonderful time going down to Ohio. I had never been there before, let alone going to a game convention.
So now we did interviews post-match.
Yes, yeah. We do have some interviews from 2 of these players. I think they'll actually be uploaded as a separate video.
Okay.
So if you want to hear, they're very lovely people. If you did a lot of work to get this far. So absolutely huge kudos to them. Most importantly, perhaps, thanks so much for watching. We had a super cool time doing this, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
And we've had no regional so far in Montreal area.
First regional is, as of recording date, as of tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll film some regionals.
Yeah, regional season. We got 3 regionals in our part of Canada this month, so stay tuned. All that good old high-stakes Netrunners coming up real soon.
Cool.
Thanks so much for watching.
See ya.
Ciao.